Okay, so what we've got here is a pretty windy day. I'm going to take a peek in both these hives to see, make sure the queen's been released, see if they need extra food, and then I'll feed them if they need it and button them back up. The first thing I'll do is give them a little bit of smoke. It's pretty windy, I don't even know how much smoke will get in the hive. But what I usually do is I smoke the entrance first. After that, did I mention it was windy? I'll do the top cover and I'll smoke underneath that top cover a little bit. Again, you see how it's quite blown away. So the first thing I see, this is good and bad. They built some burr comb off of the inner cover. I gave them too much room. So they built that comb. So we're gonna have to fix that, but we'll get to it. I also see that they have taken all their feed, which is encouraging. However, I did bring enough food to refeed them. The queen's out, so we'll see if she's been laying. She has been released. Okay, so we have the queen cage here. You can see candy end by my finger has been removed, and oh, I'm sorry, candy end's down here. Either way, it's been removed, and she is nowhere to be seen. So we'll shake these bees off of there. Take this empty bag of feed that they've gone through, and then we will search for evidence that she's present. If we can find her, great. If not, that's okay. We'll look for evidence that she exists. If there's eggs in the cells, indicates that we have a queen and she's laying. We'll button it back up, feed them back, and leave them alone. So these frames haven't been propolized in there very heavily yet, which is good. Soon they will be, and it'll be a little bit of a stickier thing to get them out. I would typically start with an outside frame because they usually work from the inside out. There's no bees on that frame, so I know I'm not going to squish anybody. Here we'll look. We don't see any queens. Obviously you would see her. Also don't see any evidence that she's present on that one. So we'll keep going until we find her or evidence of her. This dark comb, it should be a little bit easier to find eggs. It's still tough to see, but there is nectar being stored in there. At this point, it's just as likely to be that sugar syrup that I put in. But since we are getting a larger population of bees as we work towards the middle, we'll look harder to make sure that we don't miss her. I'm pretty surprised and happy how calm they are, given how windy it is. Usually bees don't care for you to open them up when it's windy like this. That's an excellent way to get stung, is to have your veil flop over. I don't know if that came on camera or not. Again, I am looking for the queen. It'd be great to see her, but just as good would be evidence of her out and laying, which would be eggs. You see these big ones sometimes, those are drones, the males. There's some big boys in here. Haven't found a queen yet. We've been through half a dozen frames. We'll keep looking. It's also very possible that she's up in that burr comb that they built off of the cover. If that's the case, we'll find her in there. It's very calm. I hope they keep this up. So very calm. I was not anticipating that. I was thinking they were going to be a little testy, but I knew I had to get in here today. The weather does not look good the rest of the weekend to be in here opening up beehives. It's going to be on the cooler side and rainy. All right, we're getting to the last two frames on the inside of the hive. Oh, I felt one bump me, which means that they're starting to take exception to me being here. Still haven't found her. I don't see eggs very well. I do have a magnifying glass I carry with me. At this point, I'm not that concerned if I don't find her or the eggs very early on. It would be nice, but the good news is they're here. they're packing in the food, whether it's wild nectar or my sugar water that they're using. I don't care at this point, as long as they're getting food. So didn't find the queen, didn't necessarily see any eggs in there. So we're going to put this back together, and then we're going to start going through the top cover burr comb they built. So here, last thing I'll do is I always pry them to the middle, reestablish that proper spacing, give them that bee space they need. Now this will be interesting to go through this. So I got to think of a plan of attack here. While I do that, I'll get something ready. I'll show you. Okay, so plan B was, now we'll just try to smoke them off the lid. We could shake them. We'll try to smoke them first. The burr comb didn't end up working out like I'd hoped it would, which is a shame. They did put a lot of work into it. So what we're going to do now is replace that inner cover. I keep forgetting that I have this shim on here. It's propolized on. I'm just going to have to prop it off. That was a shim I put on for ventilation. Works pretty good. Just a piece of number 2 hardware cloth. All right. Put this 3-inch shim back on because we're going to put that baggie on the top and inside. So you kill a couple bees. It's unfortunate. It just happens. All right. So that should establish the box back. They should stop building the burr comb and start working and filling in their regular. Okay, last thing I'll do then before I button her back up is renew their feed. So they took that quart baggie, which was a quart jar. So we're just going to make a couple holes, try to get all the air out that we can through the holes that we just made. Do the best we can, and we'll button her back up.